Hey folks, how you doing? This is Wayne S. Pierce for the American Liberty Radio Network. How are ya? Are you doing good? I mean, are you happening? Are you there? Are you happy? Did you wake up happy this morning? Did you wake up, got your coffee? Or do you have your favorite libation for the evening? Are you looking out among the stars or across the lake, wherever you're listening to this at? Let me ask you a question. I just want to put this out here. It's something you need to ask yourself and have your own answers on this. But in the very nature of society, in the very structure of society, why do we have leaders to the degree that we have them? Now, that's an interesting question, because when we look at all of this, when we examine what's there, when we look at when we look at everything, the question that I had for myself is, what are the leaders doing to help the people? Now, that was many years ago. Now I look at it and say, why aren't the people getting rid of these leaders that are doing nothing but suppressing our rights and taking away our freedoms? So why do we have the leaders to such degree as we do? What happened? What happened? Was there something? Did someone come along and say, well, here's the whole thing. Here's what's happening. Here's, how do we do this? How did we put these leaders into place? What did we do as individuals, as a group of people in society? What did we do to deserve this? You know what I mean? We think these people are really wonderful. We hear what they have to say, all of that, and we get to that point of buying into their bullcrap. We have a little bit of Stockholm syndrome there, because we have an attraction to these people, because they come out and they say the things that we dare not say because we might offend someone. They say it and they get reamed for it, or they get praised for it, one of the two. So to really sit there and to really, have, to really put yourself in a position of acceptance of those leaders is one thing, but to believe their bullcrap, this is something else. This is why a lot of people like Donald Trump, because of the fact that he's not a politician. He is who he is. He's a businessman. There is politics in business. There politicking. Do you know what that is? Well, let's go to my favorite website, dictionary.com, and look that up. As you can hear, I'm typing. So, politicking, if that's a word, if I spelt it correctly. Yes, I did. Activity undertaken for political reason or ends, as campaigning for votes before an election, making speeches, etc., or otherwise promoting one's self or one's policies. And that is a noun. The verb used without object is to engage in politicking. Used with an object is to influence or accomplish or promote politicking. But what is politicking? What is politicized? What can be confused with politic? Basically, politicking is activity directed towards acquiring power and influence, achieving one's own goals, etc. So there is, in business, you're that way. You're trying to achieve a goal. Advertisers, when salesmen, ad sales, same thing. You're trying to achieve a goal. What's the goal? For your potential client to advertise with your company, to advertise on your network, to advertise with your, organization or whatever it may be, right? So this is politicking. This is, hey, how about if, and all this other stuff. You see this going on each and every day. You understand this. This is what politicians do. But they are a breed of their own outside of the businessman. Okay? They're outside of the businessman. They know certain things and function in a way that a businessman doesn't. Okay, and vice versa. A politician is a seeker or holder of public office who is more concerned about winning favor or retaining power than about maintaining principles. That's one definition. That's a noun. Also, another definition of it is a person skilled in political government or administration, statesman or stateswoman. And another one is a person who seeks to gain power or advancement within an organization in ways that are generally disapproved. All right. I mean, this is what politicians do. They understand how to manipulate the situation to get their particular policy or whatever, or they politic to get a certain position within the administration. Okay. This is what they do. That's politician. A businessman is one who owns and runs a business, who knows and understands how this works and how they can get advertising. But see, a businessman a politician is a person who goes out on their own, to do this, to politic, to do the politicking, to go out and do what needs to be done to gain favor. Okay. This is a politician. A businessman is someone who owns a business, but hires people to go out and, sell, try to get advertisers, try to advertise on certain networks. This is what they do. They send out their people to do what they themselves know how to do, because obviously they wouldn't be owning a business if they hadn't done it in the past. Okay? So this is the difference between a politician and a businessman. And since Donald Trump is a businessman and he's president of the United States, he understands all of it and how the politicians work, because over the years he's met and discussed a few things with a few of them. So there you go. Now, on the other side of this discussion, there are those who don't want to even talk about politics. They don't want to talk about politics. They don't even care. They don't want to even talk about it. Well, those people are missing out on on helping this country, their city, their state, their county, their neighborhood run a hell of a lot better. So if they don't want to be in politics, be involved in politics, talk about politics, discuss anything political, they're missing out. Okay, I'm telling you straight up, they're missing out, because years ago I never would have. I would talk to my parents, talk to my mom, dad, about politics, about politicians, and all that. But pretty much that was it. That was the only inner circle that I talked. That's the only inner circle of people I talked to, and some of my friends here and there. But I never really thought about talking, fully discussing how everything worked until I was about 20-something years old, and it went from there. And I literally understand what's going on from the political viewpoint because I've talked to so many people that have, number one, a political viewpoint. Number two, have connections to politicians. And so I was living in Reno and we went down to Carson City, which is the capital of Nevada, and it was like 30 miles away. So we went down there, walked right into the office, went from there. And we didn't talk to anybody, higher up. We just, I asked Governor Brian Sandoval's secretary there, I said, is he in office? And she's like, no, he flew to Washington. So I okay. And I wanted to meet the guy. Didn't get a chance to, but, what the heck. But we just walked right into the state capitol building. There was one guard, one state police, Capitol police officer there. That was it. This is all. I walked around. I got pictures. I got a picture of me standing in the assembly hall behind the thing. I don't know if I was supposed to do that, but did it anyway. So, anywho, so let me go off into this other area as well. Now, everybody has this thought about China. Everybody thinks, they're going to... China has the right to walk right into the United States and say, we want this, and this to pay off your debt to us. They can do that, folks. They can do that. That is something they can do. It will, I don't know if it will happen, but it is possibility that it could happen. Now, here's a little something going on. Chinese firm wants to control areas around Panama Canal. China wants control of global trade routes. Okay, now this type of thing has gone on for many, many years. That you can look back in the old Roman Empire. You can look back in in the Chinese Empire. You can look at European empires that grew from shipping and trade and all of this. And usually you'd have, people going around South Africa through, that area, and coming over the land, and, this kind of thing. So you'd have these trade routes that were there. You'd have these trade routes, and people always wanted, governments pretty much, wanted control of these trade routes. Why? Well, it's turf war, basically. Just sum it up like that. It's turf war. They want the turf. Clifford Cunningham contributed to Infowars.com. 27th of March, that's today, 2017. Chinese government firms have expressed interest in developing land around the Panama Canal, furthering the government's desire to acquire control of strategic waterways around the world. The Panama Canal Authority, which has managed the canal since the United States ceded ownership to the Panamanian government in 1999, will officially open approximately 1,200 hectares of land, I think that's how you pronounce it, around the waterway to develop into a logistics park by the end of the year, according to Chief Executive Jorge Grijano. Quote, we have been talking to people here in China, unquote, he said ahead of the meeting with the Canal's Advisory Board in Shanghai. The Panama Canal Authority is expected to parcel out the land and grant concession agreements of up to 40 years. In addition, the operating agreement for a roll-on, roll-off terminal near the canal is expected to be put out for bid in the middle of 2017. The authority has already received indications of interest from China, Japan, Norway, and South Korea. Quote, there are opportunities there, definitely, for some of these Chinese companies to participate as a concessionaire, not just as a contractor to build something, but they can actually bid for the concession and then build, unquote. A subsidiary of the China Communications Construction Corporation, China Harbor Engineering, has expressed interest in the project, as has the Chinese Railway Group. The Communist Chinese government is the dominant shareholder in all three companies. China Ocean Shipping Company has in the past approached the Panama Canal Authority about the land, Guijano said. Under Chinese President Xi Jinping's, quote, One Belt, One Road, unquote, initiative, state-owned corporations have expanded their presence in ports located along strategic waterways in an effort to control global trade routes. Firms owned by the Chinese government have already acquired majority control over key ports in Sri Lanka, Greece, as well as minority control over ports in Europe, Africa, and Asia to maintain control over its overseas holdings, including a newly constructed military base along the Horn of Africa in Djibouti, China, recently announced plans to massively expand the country's Marine Corps. Okay? I mean, seriously, folks. What in the hell is going on with China? This is something that literally has a lot of people up in arms, really. You know, I mean, China, Russia, and the U.S. are three of the major players in commerce around the world. I mean, they are top three. I don't know who takes number one spot, but, they are the three major commerce distribution markets in the world and, distributors and all of that. So who takes the number one spot in that? I don't know. But the point is they will want control of one of the major commerce routes in the world, and that would be the Panama Canal. Now, here's the other thing, and I've looked at this myself, and I've thought about this for quite a while. China is, pretty much about 3/4 to about 80% of what we have in America right now, as far as products and all of that, come from China. So we, through our commerce, through going to Walmart, to going to Target, to going to whatever store you go to, we are supporting China, and we are supporting them developing concessions and the port in the Panama Canal. So we are pretty much, the citizens of the United States of America that buy products at the aforementioned stores are now supporting China. How about supporting the United States of America? How about supporting the key commerce areas of the United States, such as the southern border and the northern border? How about if we look at the ports that we have in New York and Florida and the inland ports of areas around Michigan and Lake Superior and Lake Erie and all of that? Why don't we structure commerce around those areas? Well, we have, but guess what? Because we don't charge tariffs to anybody shipping anything in, but they charge us, guess what? We're losing money. We are underwater. We have a trade debt that is just extraordinary, and I cannot even begin to tell you what that is. But I will here in a second. Let me look here. International trade debt. Where are we? Okay. I could just, let me go here. Let's go to usdebtclock.org, because there are specifics there as well. Let's see. I'm looking down here. U.S. population is 324 million people. U.S. workforce is 152 million. Yes, 152 million working. Okay. Let's see here. Manufacturing jobs are 12 million. U.S. retirees, 50 million. Let's see here. It doesn't, import. Okay. U.S. imported oil, U.S. trade deficit with China, and it's continuing to go up as I speak. U.S. trade deficit to China is $349 billion. Okay. U.S. trade deficit. $746 billion. Okay? That's just the trade deficit in the U.S. The U.S. trade deficit with China is $349 billion. U.S. debt held by foreign countries. You are not, doesn't surprise me, $5.9 trillion. Let me say that again, $5.9 trillion. Okay? Now I'm going to put the U.S. debt clock. This is about the middle of the page. You'll find it. You guys are pretty intelligent. You guys will find it. I'll put it up on the American Liberty Radio podcast page, and you guys check it out. Because this is how much money we are hemorrhaging out of this country. Okay? I'm not kidding you. This is what we are hemorrhaging out of this country. There's no way to pay this. And the politicians are depending upon the taxpayers to pay to pay this. There it is, usdebtclock.org on American Liberty Radio podcast. So think about it, folks. We have a trade deficit that is like enormous. Just flat. We're flat broke, folks. We are flat broke. We are underwater, let's say. I mean, some of you have had bad mortgages and stuff like that, so you know about being underwater. The Sun is reporting, let's go in this direction, 27th of March 2017, report British Special Forces deploying to London streets permanently after terrorist attack. Police state continues to expand through problem reaction solution. SAS troops are to be deployed to London streets permanently in the wake of the Westminster attack to bolster security in the capital. It's been reported. Specialist soldiers will reportedly be placed on standby at a secret location in the city center for at least the next year. It comes as a ring of steel was erected around London's landmarks to strengthen defenses and to prevent another attack. Elite officers, normally based in Hereford, I think it is, will be on a, quote, immediate notice to move, unquote, and be armed with special, quote, unquote, takedown bullets, according to the Daily Star. They'll also reportedly be able to enter buildings using explosives or, quote, fast rope, unquote, from helicopters onto roofs. Okay? I'm going to put that on the American Liberty Radio podcast Facebook page. It is what it is, folks. We are, the United States military industrial complex and the United States and European military industrial complex are ramping up their presence in the world. RT is reporting U.S. sends 200 more troops to Mosul for, quote, advise and assist, unquote, mission. That's what we did in Vietnam, folks, in 1964. Defense officials report more soldiers headed to Iraq. The U.S. military is deploying an additional 200 troops in Mosul to advise and assist Iraqi forces in their bid to retake the city, according to ABC, citing defense officials. Two companies comprising 200 to 300 soldiers in total from the 82nd Airborne Division's 2nd Brigade Combat Team are deploying to Iraq to render additional advice and assist support to Iraqi forces. Colonel Joseph Skoraka, a spokesman for Operation Inherent Resolve, told ABC News on Monday. Let me and I'm just going to put this up, but I'm going to ask this question: why is the news media, no matter who it is, I don't care if it's your mother in your back room, it doesn't really matter, those reporting the news, why is it they want to tell the enemy exactly how many people are going, where they're going, and who said they're going there? Why is that? All of this, all of the movements, everything that is military should never, ever, ever be in the news ever. Ever. Right? Anybody out there play poker? You play, you know, 5-card stud, maybe Texas Hold'em or something like that. Yeah, you don't sit at the table and show your opponent your hand, do you? Then shut the hell up and stop, you know, broadcasting what the military's going to be doing. That's stupid. I just don't get it, folks. I don't get it. I don't get it. I want to direct your attention to Mr. Tom Slick over at Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. He's got some things going on there that I really think you guys will enjoy. If you're an independent artist, independent author, or filmmaker, please check out Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz and check out The Morning Brew with your host Tom Slick right there at Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. And yeah, I write radio plays, folks, and so does he. He is now venturing into that arena. So I want you to go check this out. I'm sure he's going to play the trailer to his latest creation. And so check it out. That's Tom Slick on The Morning Brew. Go check out all of that at 926, those are the numbers, 926theblitz.rocks, 926theblitz.rocks. Check it out. Tell Tom Slick that Wayne S. Pierce from American Liberty Radio had sent you. And, yeah, he'll welcome you with open arms. Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. Tom Slick and The Morning Brew, 926theblitz.rocks. Check it out, folks. Also, check out Mr. Brian Lang over at Live Truth Radio and TV. Go check him out. Mr. Brian Lang with his show Live Truth Radio at livetruthradio.com. Go check out someone else. A very young, very intelligent, very aware individual by the name of John Christopher J-Man Collins. Go check him out at The Truth War, thetruthwar.net. The Truth War Network is his baby, so go check him out. And he's also broadcasting every Friday from Evangel University, so check him out as well. Check out more information and check out John Christopher Collins on Facebook. Tell him I sent you, and he'll give you additional information. So, yeah, there you go. Check him out as well. And, of course, I can never forget the one man that can expose everybody for everything behind the scenes, and that would be Mr. Robert Bruce over at WakingUpTheMasses.com. Waking Up the Masses. That would be CrazyWolfRadio.com. Let me give you the right address because I want you to really check this guy out. Really. Whoops. If I can type, I haven't had enough coffee and my fingers aren't working correctly. I don't know, folks. So anyway, if my Wi-Fi would work in the studio, maybe things would be better. I don't know. Got to upgrade around here, so if you want to help with the upgrade, you can just email me at AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. Go to Robert Bruce and his website, CrazyWolfMedia.com. CrazyWolfMedia.com. Check his show out. When he has one, it's usually late at night. He'll tell you, check him out. Email him. Let him know. Let him know I sent you. Yeah, there you go. Send him an email, man. Or catch him on Facebook, Crazy Wolf Radio, Crazy Wolf Media. Either one, you'll find it on Facebook. So there you go, folks. That's that. And of course, on April 5th, I will be on Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker. And we'll be talking about, are we living in a simulation? Mr. Nick Tucker and I will be discussing that on Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker. That would be distortedreality.podbean.com and right here also on American Liberty Radio Network. Folks, I don't know. I'll be back after this. This is American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.com.
Revealing the truth, one fact at a time, without all the BS. This is the American Liberty Radio Network.
You know what you want. You want the truth. You want the facts. Without all the BS. American Liberty Radio Network. AmericanLibertyRadio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Distorted Reality. I am your host, Nick Tucker, and I welcome you to the broadcast.
Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker. DistortedReality.podbean.com and Distorted Reality with Nick Tucker on American Liberty Radio Network.
There's a show that's not afraid to ask questions no one else will ask. Not afraid to say
what no one else will say.
Friday nights at 7 p.m. Listen to Restricted Airspace with Tina Marie, where no topic is off limits. Conspiracy theories, paranormal activities, hoaxes, the unexplained. It's what we talk about. Question everything. Trust no one. Restricted Airspace with Tina Marie. Friday at 7 p.m. on the KCOR Digital Radio Network out of Las Vegas, Nevada.
Hey folks, how you doing? This is American Liberty Radio Network. American Liberty Radio, sharing the truth one fact at a time without all the BS. I'm here on the 27th of March, 2017. How are you? Hey, go check out Mr. Tom Slick over at Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. He's got the best indie music from all over the world. He has, you name it, he's got it. All right? Country, pop, rock, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Mr. Tom Slick over at Radio Rock 92.6. That's 926theblitz.rocks. Radio Rock The Blitz. Yes. Radio Rock 92.6, The Blitz. I have to say it right. Radio Rock 92.6, The Blitz, 926theblitz.rocks. Check him out. Anyway, folks, let's go over here. I'm going to go to Infowars.com. Now, I'm going to say this because okay. I'm going to say this. I'm going to put this out here, and I'm going to say this. I don't give one rip what you think about Alex Jones. I don't care. I don't care what you think you have that is against him. Well, she's got this Stratford thing. That's all been debunked. That's all been taken care of 2 years ago. So I don't want to hear any more about it. Well, he's connected with the Zionists. No, he's not. Okay, from now on, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to make this a final word on from my perspective to you about Alex Jones. You got anything bad to say about him or any type of claims that you make against him? Then you put your information on the table and we'll debate it. We'll talk about it. We'll discuss it. You prove to yourself that you're right, and then give me the information so I can judge for myself what to believe. Because I know that you don't have the balls to go find the canceled checks, to go find the electronic funds transfers, to go find the documents that prove that he is connected to anything, including the Pope. Okay? I don't give one freaking rip what you have to say about him. I'm not defending him because he's not perfect and I disagree with some of the things he talks about, but I also do what he tells you to do as well, and that is check this stuff out on your own. If you don't have the balls to sit at the other end of the table with your information to prove your claims against him, you got nothing and your argument is pointless. Done. Okay? Just done. Tommy ALRN, permanently banned from the Blaze, will not return from suspension. The departure does not come as a surprise to most media observers. Yeah, does that make Glenn Beck, because she was on the Blaze, does that make Glenn Beck a hypocrite? No. That makes him a very savvy, very smart businessman. Okay? So let's go read about that. You've probably heard about that already, but let me go read it to you from the Daily Caller. Derek Hunter, 27th of March, if I can speak. Tommy ALRN, the Blaze TV host who once declared herself too controversial for Fox, is back in the job market today. Page 6 is reporting ALRN is permanently banned from the Blaze, where she hosted Tommy, a daily news talk show. The departure does not come as a surprise to most media observers. ALRN, who boasts 4.2 million Facebook fans, was suspended all of last week for comments she made on The View, calling conservatives hypocrites for being for smaller government and pro-life. She didn't say that. The Blaze is owned by conservative radio host Glenn Beck, and the company has recently fallen on hard times. Page 6 reports Beck's radio show is slipping in popularity, and traffic to the Blaze website is sharply declining too. The website, quote, attracted 29 million unique visitors per month in 2014, and only 8.8 million uniques in February 2017, for a loss of more than two-thirds of its traffic. ALRN has yet to make any public statements on the parting of ways, but after the story broke, she tweeted, "Never do the envy, jealousy, and insecure stuff. Be the hustler, the well-wisher, the go-getter." That unquote. That's Team Tommy over at Twitter. And there it says read more, so I'm going to put this on American Liberty Radio Podcast for you guys to check out. I'm going to tell you this right now. Glenn Beck better get back to doing what he did before. And I'm going to tell you, I've mentioned this story many, many times. I was sitting here one morning and watching TV when we had cable. I don't have cable now, but I was watching TV. And on Fox and Friends, on the Fox Business channel, I was watching Fox and Friends, and the people on the couch had Glenn Beck there. And Glenn Beck said, you know, there's FEMA camps, there's this, I can prove it. I've gotten information from reliable sources, general, and he's talking that there's FEMA camps. This is several years ago. You can go look this up on YouTube. He talked about this. He said, yes, they are, and the hosts there on the comfy couch were asking him, you know, questions about it. He gets on his radio show that afternoon, says the same thing. I'm going to talk about FEMA camps, yada, yada, yada. I turn on his show at night on Fox Business on TV. I'm watching him. He gets in, you know, hi, whatever, and he says what he's going to say, and he opens up his monologue. Then he does this. He says, I'm not going to talk about the FEMA camps because they don't exist. He walks to the camera, he winks his eye, and says in a stage whisper, they told me to say that. And then he comes back and he doesn't talk about it for the rest of the show, and he goes on and does something else. Now, he leaves Fox. He creates his own network, and he gets more spiritual, more godly, and he is a godly man, and I respect that. But he doesn't talk about who's behind the curtain like he did on HLN or Fox. He doesn't do that. He doesn't expose these people for who they are. If he would have stayed in that type of, way of doing things, he wouldn't have lost two-thirds of his traffic to his website. Because you have to expose these people for who they are. Is he on Clear Channel? Probably not. I don't know. I don't know where he is. I know that you can go to his website, glennbeck.com or theblaze.com, and check out the radio show. So, What's he going to do? He needs to get back to talking about who's behind the curtain, who's behind the door, who's, manipulating things behind the scenes. And once he does that, his listenership and viewership is going to increase dramatically. So if anybody knows Glenn Beck and listens to this show and his show, you tell him this, and I will say this for you to send to him, Mr. Beck, get back to doing what you were doing that got you to where you are today. Talk about who's behind the scenes. Put up the chalkboard. Put up all of that. Expose these people for who they are. Expose the elites. Expose the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and all these people for who they are. The Van Joneses and all these people. You did that before, and it was fantastic. That's why I was watching you, because I wanted to know who was manipulating the general public. And my question to you, Mr. Beck, is this. Who were you manipulated by? That's my message to Glenn Beck. So, pass that on to him if you'd like. So, let me go in this direction. I will... I know I talked about this before, and I've put this out here, and I've talked about this with other people as well. Not so much on air, but I've talked to Nick Tucker and I've talked to other people as well about this. Michael Snyder over at economiccollapse.com, I believe that's what it is. Let me go take a look, and I will tell you exactly what the website is. theeconomiccollapseblog.com. That's what it is. And it says here, thousands of Americans are fleeing the big cities. Why are so many people suddenly moving away from major U.S. cities? Michael Snyder reports on this on the 27th of March 2017. That would be today. Why are so many people suddenly moving away from major U.S. cities? Recently, Michael Snyder says, I wrote about the mass exodus that is happening out of the state of California. But the truth is that what is happening there is just part of a national phenomenon. The populations of some of our largest cities are steadily shrinking, and many experts are completely mystified by the seismic demographic shifts that we are now witnessing. And of course, there are a whole host of reasons why people would want to move away from huge cities such as Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, Cleveland. For some families, it simply comes down to wanting a better life for their children. But as you will see below, there are others that believe that things in this country are about to take an apocalyptic turn, and the big cities will not be a place that you want to be when economic collapse, rioting, looting, civil unrest, and crime are all spiraling out of control. According to the data released by the U.S. Census Bureau, Chicago took the prize for the biggest population loss from 2015 to 2016, and it was followed by Detroit and Baltimore. So you certainly can't blame people living in these cities for wanting to find somewhere warmer or more economically prosperous to live, but others are moving away from large cities. But others that are moving away from large cities are deeply concerned about where things are ultimately headed in this country. It doesn't take a genius to see that anger, frustration, and hatred are rising all around us, and many believe that conditions are ripe for civil unrest and civil conflict. In fact, best-selling author Doug Casey believes that we could soon see a civil war that is set off by a financial collapse. Without a doubt, our financial system is certainly primed for a financial collapse, and when things get really, really bad in this country, how will people respond? Many have decided that they want to get away from the major population centers before we find out the answer to that question. I'm going to put this on American Liberty Radio, the economiccollapseblog.com article on American Liberty Radio podcasts, and let you read the rest of that. I just highlighted some of the things in there. I didn't go into a whole lot of detail, so check it out if you would, American Liberty Radio podcasts. right there. California is a communist state, and they have to not only impeach but arrest and charge Governor Brown with treason. Yes, I said it. Anybody in Stockton listening to me? Anybody in Sacramento listening to me? You need to arrest that asshole and throw his butt in jail. My mother said his father, Pat Brown, was a total idiot. He didn't know what he was doing either. Okay, so I know this, okay? My mom had to fight Sacramento because her cousin was disabled and he wasn't getting what he needed. And this was back in the 70s. Okay, so she literally got on the phone to the governor's office and gave them the riot act. Her cousin, within weeks, got everything he needed. So that's what happens when you have one woman who's pissed off. Imagine half of California being pissed off and what they could do to change things. Okay? I grew up in Stockton, California, born and raised right there in Stockton, California at Dameron Hospital. So I don't want to hear anybody in Stockton say, well, it's not that bad. Step away from the city for about a year and then come back and tell me again it's not that bad. All right? So there you go. Am I a little bitter? Not at all. California is a cesspool of filth. Pelosi clashes with constituents. Quote, do you want to listen or just speak? Unquote. Just how far left are the invisible activists? Even Nancy Pelosi is too conservative for him. The House Minority Leader found out the hard way when her constituents attending a Saturday town hall meeting in San Francisco repeatedly shouted out and jeered as she said what they apparently thought were wobbly statements. Yeah, she's wobbly. Several times she clashed with her own constituents who were largely sympathetic to her agenda. Appearing with Congresswoman Jackie Spear, Pelosi was confronted by activists with Indivisible, a group that has been turning out left-wing citizens largely at political town hall meetings across the country. When Pelosi told the group that she was supported by a single-payer health scheme for 30 years, shouts and jeers erupted. Sorry? A confused Pelosi said, looking into the crowd. When Pelosi said certain quote-unquote, certain respects of Obamacare have gone, quote-unquote, to the left of, quote-unquote, Medicare for all, many of the crowd weren't buying that either. Yes, Pelosi said, raising her voice. Do you want to listen or you just do you just want to speak, unquote? She quizzed the audience. In other words, I'm putting this up on American Liberty Radio Podcast for you to see the rest of this. It said read more, so I'm going to put that article up there. Basically, Nancy Pelosi thinks you're stupid. Do you want to listen or do you want to talk? That basically is implying that you people are frickin' stupid if you don't listen to what I'm saying. Okay, so Nancy Pelosi is just a dirtbag. And you can pass that on to her. I really don't care what she thinks, because her and Barbara Boxer and Dianne Feinstein and all those folks, they're just far-left California communists, period. End of sentence, done. And they don't really give a rip about people in California, period. Period. Okay? I grew up in California. Hello? I know. So I don't want to hear it, okay? Step away from California for about a year or 5 years and then come back and you tell me how incredibly dumb the politicians are in California. Okay? My friends and family who live in Stockton and who live in the surrounding areas need to do one thing. Pack the crap and leave California, because it's going to collapse within the next 5 years. Actually, it's already collapsed under Jerry Brown. It's already at that point of stress to where all he has to do is sign one executive order and you people are slaves. So pack your crap. Family, I love you. Family out there in Stockton and the surrounding areas, Lodi, San Andreas, all that area, leave. Just pack up and go, because find a state. Come up here to Montana. It's beautiful up here. Winters are kind of cold, but not bad. Come on up. My cousin, who I grew up with in Stockton, California, him and his wife packed up and moved back to her hometown in Texas. So, yeah. Folks, California's done. Family, I love you. My family's in Stockton, Modesto. They're all over the place down there. Escalon, they're all over the place. And I love y'all, But you got to understand what the problem is. And the problem is you got some stupid politicians destroying the state of California. And it's already a communist state. So what else do you want to know? I love you guys. Pack your crap and get the hell out of California. You're going to take a loss on your houses when everything drops again here next year. Yes, look at the finances. Look at what economics plays in California. You're going to, your house ain't going to be worth doodly crap if you don't do something now. Okay? So I'm just saying. So there you go. I could rant, but I won't. I was going to say something about Sacramento, but that's okay. Let's go here. North Dakota. Here. Oh, moved to North Dakota, folks. Moved in. We're like, they're east of us here. So I like this. AWR Hawkins reported for Breitbart yesterday, 26th of March, 2017. North Dakota. The Second Amendment is your concealed carry permit. Let me say that again, folks. The Second Amendment is your concealed carry permit. Must, quote, have a valid ID and notify law enforcement of the weapon during instances such as a traffic stop, unquote. On Thursday, Governor Doug Burgum, Republican, signed legislation allowing North Dakota residents to carry a handgun concealed for self-defense without a permit. Legislation, House Bill 1169, passed the House on February 21st by a vote of 83-9. It passed the Senate on March 21st by a vote of 34-13. U.S. News reports that the permitless carry law allows law-abiding citizens 18 and over to carry a concealed handgun for self-defense as long as they, quote, have a valid ID and notify law enforcement of the weapon during instances such as a traffic stop, unquote. According to the West Fargo Pioneer, upon signing the bill, Governor Burgum said, quote, North Dakota has a rich heritage of hunting and a culture of deep respect for firearm safety. As a hunter and a gun owner myself, I strongly support gun rights for law-abiding citizens. House Bill 1169 allows citizens to exercise their Second Amendment right under the U.S. Constitution, unquote. There you go. And it said read more, so I'm going to put that on American Liberty Radio podcast. I still got that throat thing going on, folks. I have no idea what it is, so I may have to run off to the doctor at some point this week to figure out what the heck's going on. So anyway, there you go. And I'm going to say this to all the governors of the United States of America, excluding those in Illinois and California and New York, because, you people are communists, so who the hell cares about you? The Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America, which guarantees our protection of carrying a firearm, is our license to carry. So I'm telling you, all you governors out there and all you legislators out there, that if you don't follow the Bill of Rights of the Constitution of the United States of America and give us what we want, then you are treasonous. And we will do everything we can to either vote you out of office or have you arrested. Period. Now, I know that sounds like a coup, but when you legally look at what that is, as far as our protection for the Second Amendment and us carrying a weapon for self-defense, guess what? You're in violation of our protection from the Constitution of the United States of America, laid down by our founders and ratified 15th of December, 1791. Tell me again that I can't carry a gun without you giving me a little card that I have to carry in my pocket? No way. I have the Second Amendment. There you go. I'm hearing that Neil Gorsuch is a bad idea for the Supreme Court. That's what I'm hearing. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't had enough time to really look into his background or what he believes, but I That's what I heard. Now, today I'm hearing good things about him, but I'm also hearing the bad things about him, such as this brainless idiot called Elizabeth Warren supports filibuster on Gorsuch's nomination, quote, way outside the mainstream, unquote. Quote, I don't think Neil Gorsuch meets that standard, unquote. Senator Elizabeth Warren, she's a Democrat from Massachusetts, said last week that she supports a filibuster to stop the Supreme Court nomination of federal judge Neil Gorsuch, claiming that he is, quote, way outside the mainstream, unquote. Quote, we need to have a judge who's kind of acceptable to both sides, unquote. Warren said on National Public Radio's Morning Edition Friday, quote, that's the reason there's a 60-vote rule in effect in the Supreme Court nominees, unquote. Yeah. I am not even going to go any further. I just read a line or two after that. Sorry for being so silent. But I want you to decide for yourself how to judge this article. And actually, we all know about Elizabeth Warren and her left-wing constituents. What? They're left-wing? Elizabeth Warren is just... All Democrats want slavery and a collapsed country to, identify with the third world country to be on the same level playing field as they are. That's what the Democrats want. I don't give one rip what political party you belong to. That's what the Democrats, that's what some of the Republicans, that's what the progressives and the Progressive Party of the United States of America, including the Communist Party of the United States of America, the Socialist Party of the United States of America, I could go on. I got a whole list of them. That's what they want, excuse me, to destroy the United States of America, to make it on the same level playing field as every other socialist country that is now completely destroyed and completely, enslaving their citizens. That's part of the Democratic Party, folks. Go back in history and look at how they were created, who they were created by, why they were created. Go look at it. Go look at it. I mean, I'm not, I don't know. You can do what you want, folks. I mean, I'm not here to throw you on the ground and twist your arm behind your back and make you believe anything that I want you to believe. You have to go out and check this stuff out yourself. Alex Jones says the same thing. Go out and check this stuff out yourself. Brian Lang says the same thing. Nick Tucker says the same thing. Michael Savage says it. Go check this stuff out yourself. All I'm doing is giving you what I know. All I'm doing is giving you the answers that I found for me. You have to go out and find the answers for you. So I encourage you to go out and check this stuff out. Now, here's this. And here at the end of the podcast, I want to say this. And I want to put this out here because I literally have to say this because it is important for you to know. This show is for you. The information that you get from me is for you. But again, I encourage you to go look this stuff up. Now, if you want to contribute to the American Liberty Radio Network, you can do that. There's a Patreon link on the sponsors page on the website. Go to AmericanLibertyRadio.com, go to the sponsors page, and you'll see the little Patreon link there. Drop $1 in the kitty. Help this show stay on the air. Help me keep the lights on around the studio. You know what I'm saying? Because all that money is just going to go right to the production of the show. I get zipped zero zilch nada for that, okay? It's just going to go right to the show. So, there you go. So if you want to do that, that's great. Go to AmericanLibertyRadio.com. Go to the sponsors page. You can even advertise on the network if you like. All of the information is on the sponsors page. So check it out. If you have any questions, email me. AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. AmericanLibertyRadio@USA.com. I put in the subject line radio so I know you heard me. Okay, so there you go. Folks, another day, another podcast in the can, as they say. So I had a thought when I said that. So anyway, folks, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go away. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day. I got lots of stuff to do in the theater. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. This is American Liberty Radio Network, AmericanLibertyRadio.com, sharing the truth one fact at a time without all the BS.